Hi, my name is Lloyd. I am running for the Director of Finance and Operations, and I am on the Refresh slate. It really comes down to my passion. I think the reason why I did this is because I see myself making a real difference in the student community, and I think that's really important to me. So creating that positive effect in the community is something that's the real driving force behind it. And combined with my experience in the field, I think it's something that I also have passion for, and yeah, that's why I'm doing it. I think apart from my personal experience in the business industry, I believe myself, I have a lot of personalities and values that can contribute to this organization for the student body as a whole. And I think collectively that makes me a really good candidate for this position. Personally, I've known Kaylee for 2 years when we began our CL journey together. So I know her quite well as a person and her values. And just looking at her history, I guess, of work, I'm quite impressed by her commitment to the society, what she's trying to do, and the positive influence that she has on this community. So I want to join Kaylee because of that, and I want to be part of the positive movement and make a difference. First of all, I'd like to address divestment, my opinions on that. Personally, I believe that we should look at this movement from a holistic perspective. I mean, what kind of impacts and the ripple effect of this decision will have on all the stakeholders involved. Essentially, we need to look at, will this have a negative effect on the students in terms of those scholarship recipients? And generally, the funding is there for a reason. The divestment movement began in the 20th century, and its first successful movement was against the South African country. However, that movement was greatly involved by the governments, by 22 countries around the world, by a lot of universities. But right now, this divestment movement, at least in Canada, a majority of this campaign is managed by students. So not a lot of government involvement at this point. I mean, there's a reason why government and university are hesitant to, get in on this. And if you actually read up on the blog, it says students are pressuring universities into doing this. The word pressure kind of gives you the idea of, this is doing something against their will. And there's probably a good reason why university have their stance on that. So again, to approach this, I need to understand why the governments are hesitant to participate in this movement, why the universities are hesitant to participate in this movement, why the students want to do this. I do believe in the fundamental philosophies behind divestment, which is sustainable growth and using sustainable resources. I do genuinely believe in that. But the method of achieving that is going to have a good impact for the long run. And I need to look at this from a holistic approach. And from my preliminary analysis at this point, I am not, say, against it, but at this point, I'm not in favor of divestment. So quite neutral ground, but I need to do more analysis on it. Mm-hmm. With regards to, the other three are?
So the community gardens, the food bank, and the student of color collective.
Right. And for the other three topics, I am heavily in favor of the community garden. Personally, I am from South Tower, which is part of the sustainability pillar theme building. And I see all my students, my residents, go into the gardens all the time and come back with fresh spinach and kale and the kind of enjoyment they have, they get out of that community garden, and how much effort they put into it, and how much of the positive impact that community garden has on people. So I'm fully in support of the community garden, and I think that's a great initiative. With regards to the food bank, a lot of my friends are using the service, and I've heard so many good things about it. is again for a great cause, and I'm in full support of it. And lastly, for the color student, of course, I'm also in favor of that. Oh, for sure, for sure. A lot of our equipments are really old, and I've asked if we've done any sustainable reports on these operations. We've only done one report thus far, but it'd be interesting to look into the numbers in terms of the efficiency of these equipments. How much water, how much power are we using for these equipments, and what kind of things we can do? Should we update them, or should we buy new ones to replace them to make it more efficient for us? For example, I think it was mentioned that 3 years ago we were using water coolers as our fridge, and that wastes 33 million gallons of water every year, and we replaced that with air cooling. So that is an improvement that in the past we did, and that's, I think, something that I would again allow myself and look into that strategy of improving the effectiveness and productivity of the operations. And my main goal this year for my platform is to run a carbon neutral organization, so making this building absolutely carbon neutral. And I think the first part is to look into how much resources we're consuming and effective efficiencies on that. So again, that aligns with my personal platform as well. My overall strategy is to create an organization that is sustainable. Now, when I say sustainable, I don't just mean environmentally sustainable, but also financially and socially sustainable. So taking all those three big parts together, I want to make sure that our organization can sustain in the long run. So all the decisions that I make not only involve the stakeholders, but they're not just good for this year or this term that I'm running, but also for the foreseeable future. And that is my overall strategy.